Well, right now, police and school leaders are pouring through new priorities to keep your kids safe. That's because new safety recommendations were just released a few hours ago. Amy Hawley is live in Overland Park where all this happened. And Amy, you've been busy looking through all those documents this afternoon.
Well, it was a busy place here at the Overland Park Police Headquarters. School superintendents all over Johnson and Miami counties left the Overland Park Police Headquarters a few hours ago with a very thick 1,000-page book of school safety recommendations. It was called the Defense of Our Schools Project, and inside some pretty dramatic recommendations, all the way from door locks in every classroom to smaller classroom windows to possibly arming those school resource officers with the same kind of weapons that attackers usually use. For years, schools have thought about school safety, but after these local officers and superintendents watched the horror of the mass school shooting in Newtown, Connecticut last year, they began to brainstorm new ideas and came up with this little document, a 1,000-page book of school safety recommendations, 40 of them in total. The biggest change, schools and police working together with the mental health community.
Random people, lone wolves out of a community, have struck against society, whether it's Gabby Gifford or the Colorado shooting in the theater, whether it's a mall attack, whether it's a school attack, whether it's a variety of attacks which don't seem to be motivated by political cause or anything else, just random acts of violence.
Blue Valley Schools sped up its $271 million safety plan right after Newtown. In 2 years, all school entrances will no longer have direct access to classrooms.
Digitizing all the cameras, our high school buildings, those kinds of things.
Some Shawnee Mission schools are also doing the same thing. But this 1,000-page defensive schools recommendations suggests some changes also inside the school, from tracking students' social media to teachers practicing different hiding places, not always going to the same place, to texting a cop, giving students the phone number of their school resource officer so they can feel comfortable to report the problems.
We want those officers in the building. We want them creating relationships with kids so that they're very comfortable sharing things that they just might hear off the street.
Now, some other pretty jarring recommendations: schools installing panic buttons that make a direct call to police, and providing classrooms with protection kits that would provide kids and parents and teachers mace and safety vests and flex cuffs. Pretty jarring recommendations maybe for a parent to hear when they're just trying to send their kid to school, but the people who gathered here today all agree it is a necessary part of school life these days. In Overland Park, Amy Hawley, 41 Action News.
And the CDC says more than 5% of kids say they have carried a weapon onto school campuses. Those weapons were things like guns and knives. About 6% said they missed at least one day of school because they felt threatened at class. And 20% of students reported being bullied while on school property.